Hey guys, it's Frecky here, and today I'm going to be talking about different types of diets. Alright, so if you remember in my last video, I mentioned that I was going to be finding out my blood type today and then looking into the blood type diet. I made it clear that I was not going to be switching diet plans, but I was curious to see what type of foods were good for me based off of my blood type. Well, two things with it. One, I took the kit and I made a whole video on it and it was blah blah blah. But my results are kind of hard to read. I believe that I am O positive. But the results they're kind of hard to read here. I don't think I got enough blood on my finger. But so one, I'm not exactly sure what my blood type is. I believe O positive. But two, I started researching into the diet because at first mention it was because a friend had mentioned that they were following it and that I heard other people say it online. So I was really curious. And not insulting the diet, not saying that it is definitely wrong, but after research, it's not something that I want to actually spend a lot of time looking into because one, the original book came out in 1996. And since then, there have been other studies done based around it, the last one being in 2013. And during that last study, basically what they did was they took 1,455 young adults and put them on the type A blood diet. And all of them then, lost weight, their health markers went to where they need to go, and basically got overall healthier bodies. But the thing is, out of those 1,455 people, not all of them were type A blood people. That wording is weird. But anyway, not all of them had that blood type, but they still got healthier. And so and there was one other major study that was very similar, and basically there's no, systematic data to prove that this diet works based off of blood type. But they did kind of say that that diet would work because ultimately all of them were based on healthier for you foods in general. Like when I was looking at the test, like what it recommended for blood type O positive, and it was, avoiding things that we all know are bad for us anyway, the high in fat stuff, the processed stuff, all of that type of stuff. So ultimately, it's just recommending good food. And so with that, it's got me started thinking about all of the different diets that I have tried over the years. Because, 5 years ago-ish was when I lost that 140 pounds. Over the last 5 years, I have proceeded to gain it all back. But also, I have been on a diet basically the last 5 years. I've switched around, tried different things, and I've come to the conclusion that you've got to find what works best for you. There are so many of them out there, and I'm just going to list a couple that I tried, and I just want to say that, one, I'm not insulting any of these diets because they exist for a reason, people do them for a reason, people are successful for a reason, but ultimately I feel like you've got to find what works best for you, and not just quit because it's not working. It's try to find something that works better. So let's start with keto. That one's huge. I got hardcore into it. I got the blood testing kit where you pricked your finger, tested your blood to make sure you were in ketosis. They had pee sticks that you pee on, and if it came a certain color, you were in ketosis. I got all the recipes. I was cooking every day. I was doing all of this stuff, and I was losing half a pound or less a week, which is good. I was still losing, but it was half a pound a week or less. Sometimes it was barely moved. And so I was a little disgruntled by that, but I was still doing it because, hey, it was working and I got to eat bacon and cheese and whatever. But I didn't like how my body felt. First of all, I think I'm the type that I should not have a ton of meat. I tend to feel a little bit more lethargic, and I always feel a little bit greasier when I'm eating food, even if it is healthier meats besides, the high fat meats. And without being gross, I did have an issue where for like nearly 2 weeks I couldn't poop. And that is the most uncomfortable feeling in the world, when you need to, because people do it every day, but I couldn't. And so that was disgruntling. And so then I'm having to get Metamucil and fiber this and whatever that. And that was annoying and extra hard that, I have to get supplements and things to help me digest because of the diet I'm having. And then the final straw for me was when I had gotten some really bad news, and I was upset, and I had a cheat meal. Keep in mind, it was a cheat meal, not a cheat day, not a cheat week. I didn't go completely off plan. I had one meal. I had burgers and fries. A burger and fries. And so the bun and the fries were all on there that I wasn't supposed to have. The rest of the day I was completely fine. The rest of the week I was completely fine. But immediately, 5 pounds jumped back on my body. And 4 days later was my weigh-in, and I was still up 4 pounds. And when you're losing a half a pound or less a week, that is a lot of weight to jump back on. And so after that, I just kind of quit, because for my body, depriving it of something, and then the second you get a little bit of it, your weight just jumps back up, because it's like, oh, I want that, let me have it. And it latches on. And that's not for me. I know people that are successful on it. I have a coworker that is. I've seen other people online and friends, and it can work. It's just maybe not for my body. And then I've done other things. Like I tried the current Weight Watchers program, which at this moment I believe it's called Freestyle, but it's where they have over 200 free 0-point foods on their list, and that's amazing. Like, holy cow. But the thing is, I think they underestimate how much chicken breast I can eat, because I tried it for a good solid 3 months, and I would either stay the same or I would lose. I mean, stay the same or I would gain. Never lost the entire time. And I followed the program, but I am very much, this is what the directions say, this is what I'm doing. If you tell me I can eat as much of this chicken breast as I can, I scanned the label, it was saying I could have it, as much of it as I want, I did. And obviously, maybe, I was binging sometimes and things like that, but don't tell me that and then I have to make up my own rules, because I have a couple of customers that are on it and they like it and it's working for them, but they are also, well, after I have X amount of chicken breast, then I start tracking, or turkey or tofu or whatever item it may be. But so they have to make up their own rules. And if I'm giving a company money, I don't want to make up my own rules. And I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, because that's just for the couple of customers I have that are on it. In the iTrackBites participants Facebook group, I know they have that plan on iTrackBites, and there are people that are being successful with it. So I don't know if they're making up their own rules, or if they are following it and it's working, or if they're just not being a glutton and eating like a ton of chicken breast. But it didn't work for me. And ultimately, it's not a diet that I know I can do. That's why I hunted down a way to get the Points Plus program, because it worked for me. I lost 140 pounds before. So I know it can work for me, and I know I can do it, and I know I can stick to it. And so with that, that's ultimately what you gotta do, guys. You've got to find what works best for you. There are so many diets out there, so many tricks, so many whatever. And even the basics, like I was doing calorie counting on MyFitnessPal. That's basic. That is, making sure that you're in, a caloric deficit, so that you are burning more calories than you're putting in your body. Pretty basic, pretty easy. But at the same time, it didn't work for me, or at least I couldn't stick to it, because it complicates things on my end. But so there's all these different things, and you've got to find what works best for you. The Weight Watchers Points Plus, aka iTrackBites Carb Conscious, works beautifully for me. But for you, it might not. I have another friend that started up, and she's doing the iTrack Bites Sugar Smart plan. In the iTrack Bites Facebook group, there's 6 plans that you can follow. And so there are different ones for different people. What works for you might not work for me. And so I see a lot of people, when they try something, they just want to quit. They're like, oh, I can't do this, da 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 da. And you've got to find what does work for you. And that goes for all aspects of health and fitness. So like finding the right kind of diet plan that works for you, or lifestyle choice, whatever. You got to find what works for you. But same with exercise. I hate the gym. When I've gone to the gym in the past, I dread it all day long. I try to think of reasons to not go. I give myself headaches and all this stuff. And then when I go there, I'm fine. I don't love it, but I'm fine. And then I leave, I'm glad I went, but I don't want to go again. And so I know for me that the gym is not a place that I want to be. Especially being my size, I get flashbacks of high school and grade school gym, and I've always been big, so those were never pleasant experiences, being the fat kid in class. And the gym just feels like that. I don't care which gym I've joined, it always feels like that. But then I find other things that work for me. I find, playing the Just Dance on my PS4, which I need to get back into. I got that exercise ball, and that is helpful. And that 30-day challenge, I've been sticking to it. I messed up once, but then I made up for it the next time. So, like, finding what works for you, especially with fitness, it's just a matter of being a little bit more active. Even if you're not going to the gym, even if you're not going to a pool or doing a workout video or jogging or biking or whatever, find what works for you. Those things are working for me for a start. I do want to get more walking in. I would like to get a bike, but again, the age-old problem for me of bikes that can carry my weight are hard to find and very expensive when you do find them. So there's one that I want, but I believe it's like $300, and I'm going to Dragon Con next year. Can't spend $300 on a bike. So that's further down the road, but it does look pretty cool. And it's got like thick tires, which I know will handle me. I think it's designed for mountain biking, but people do say it handles heavy weights a lot easier. But so a matter of finding what works for you. I think I've said that 20 times in this video alone, but that is so important. You can't follow the herd. You can't go by the latest trend. You can't do exactly what your best friend is doing. You have to find what works for you. I have plenty of people that like to give me advice, and I will gladly take it. It was pointed out that I actually don't take it gladly. I kind of get defensive, which I'm working on. But I'm one of those people, I get a little defensive, but then I process what you said, and I might think about it. But I do listen, and I do, try. And it's a matter of knowing your body, knowing what works for you. Luckily, I've done this before, so I do know what works for me, and I've learned to become very attuned to my body and myself and know what I will and won't do. And it's a matter of being straight up honest. If, somebody's talking about, going outside and walking for an hour every single day, I know I don't like the heat. I'm not going to do it. But you find a way to make it work. I could go to the mall, walk around there. It could be one of those old mall walkers, or other routes like that. Or, like I said, there's so many different things. There's the biking, there's going to a pool, there's the gym, there's home videos, there's yoga, there's a million different types of stuff to do at home, buying equipment for your house, playing with these dogs that are making noise behind me, all sorts of things. And yeah, so I'm going to say it one more time, but you've got to find what works best for you, what you know you can do and what you will do. That's the key, is what will you do? Because all that ultimately we don't want to do. Yeah, we want to go have pizza, but are we okay with having a healthier option instead? Or, whatever. So yeah, so that's just my little rant for today. I wanted to do this whole thing on this kit, but my results were weird, and ultimately after research, I'm not wanting to put a lot of stock into it. I'm not wanting to put a lot of the information out there. If you're interested, look into it yourself, because it can work, so they say. Yeah. So anyway, if you are on a journey as I always say, let me know. What type of diet plan are you doing? What type of exercise are you doing? I'm really curious what other people are doing. One, to see if it's maybe something I want to incorporate, or two, just so that other people can see more options. Because on my channel, all I'm mainly going to be talking about is carb conscious. That is what I do. That is what is working for me. So getting more information out there would be great. Plus, I just like hearing about others people and what works for them and what their personal story is. It's one thing from this channel. I am meeting so many people and hearing so many stories that I'm just loving. And the support is super, super great for me to keep me motivated and for everybody else to keep them motivated. And if you haven't yet, hit the little subscribe button below. Click the little bell so you get notified whenever I get posted, because I will say Friday is going to be a bonus video. And a spoiler alert, I'm going to be doing a topic based off of my top 5 favorite kitchen gadgets. And it's part of a collab with a bunch of other people. And the spoiler is, besides that, right before this morning, before I was getting everything ready, set up in there to record for Friday, the shelf that it was all on, I knocked it over. So all of my stuff went across the floor. So I had to get MacGyver with it with some super glue and some tape. So we'll see how that comes out. That's what I'm recording next. And you'll get to see it Friday.